All right, guys. Now I'm back from the Ultimate Time Wizard tournament that took place at the NAWCQ in Austin, Texas. And today I'm just going to do a tournament recap, how I did, and things that happened in the event and the future of these Ultimate Time Wizard tournaments moving forward. So it was 466 players, which was amazing. Largest Edison tournament we ever had, in real life tournament we've ever had since the original one in 2010. Which you can see the Edison community is growing. I saw so many players that I hadn't seen in years because it was in Texas, not my city, but 3 hour drive. So I know a lot of the South Texas players, and it was good to see a lot of them. And you'd see the Edison community continue to grow. I hope these continue to grow. I think the ones in Cali might be pretty big as well, but we'll see there. And yeah, so first things first, it was technically at first they announced it was going to be 8 rounds, cut to top 8, which was I think really wrong because if they had done that, a few X1s wouldn't have made it, but instead they decided to do 9 rounds of Swiss, cut the top 8, and all the X1s made it. There was 2 X1 that got 9th and 10th, which I think is fine. I know some people are really upset. They really want it to be top 16, which I think it should be. If we pass 200, and I think there's I think it's like 256. If we pass 256, it should be top 16, but we're a side event. We're not a main event. Speaking of that, that's another complaint that I had. This one was ran a lot worse than the indie from a few months ago, from like 2 months ago. Again, we had no clock, which is bad. And I think they need a megaphone or something. Because, obviously in the main event, they're always or at least online pairings. We need either or. Either A, online pairings, or they need a megaphone or something to announce when the rounds are happening. So I'll go over that in a bit. And yeah, Konami, they're going to, usually after every season, the season resets after Nationals and Worlds. So I hope that when they discuss this here soon, that we at least for the top 8, we should get our own mat, not the same mat that the side events get. I think that's the bare minimum I think Konami should give us. Anyway, now let's go over. I'm gonna go over the top 8 decks that made it. So 1 through 8. So this is after Swiss. So first after Swiss was Isaac playing Pure Black. Was actually got his deck profile on the channel. He went 9-0 and then lost in top 8. Then we have Bronte, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Bronte, Alexander Dover, Taradas with Frog. It's like a Frog Monarch deck. He's playing like Caius and Chunk Synchrons and Death Frog, 3 dupes. I actually played against his team, and the 3v3 in Las Vegas, and he was we started off 5-0, and his team was our first loss. So congrats to him. He was second after Swiss and went on to win the whole tournament. So congrats to him. Welcome to the Time Wizard Champion Club. So good job on him. Frogs, another win. This is their 4th win. And the Ultimate Time Wizard for Frogs. The only other 2 decks that have won Time Wizard tournaments have been Bayou. So, and next up we got Michael Donald King, Gladiator Beast, 3rd place, lost. He got 4th place. He was 3rd after Swiss, but finished up 4th. And glad to see GB. Now, some of you guys who weren't at the event, there was a lot of GB players at the top tables, and I actually know a few of them. And that's the thing about GBs. People who play GBs back then usually know how to play the deck very well. So now with Frogs and Vayu and Amaryllis, expect to see more GBs moving forward. And number 4 is Rick Novik playing Vayu. He was the only Vayu player that topped. And congrats to him. This is his 3rd Ultimate Time Wizard top. He and I played in the finals when I won the Cat, and then he got top 8 when I got the JD, and now he got a mini substitute. So he's gotten 2nd, he's gotten 3rd, and I guess 5th because he lost to the winner last time. So yeah, 2nd, 3rd, or 5th. We'll see. I expect to see. Maybe he'll get that win next time. All right, and 5th was Will from Oregon, Amaryllis. I got his deck profile on the channel as well. He lost in top 8. And Rick got 3rd. Yeah, Rick got 3rd. I forgot to mention that. Rick got 3rd. And then Will got lost in top 8, playing Amaryllis. And then 6th after Swiss was Christopher Leonard Lindsay. He's playing Amaryllis. He also lost in top 8. And this is his 2nd Ultimate Time Wizard top. I know he topped the first one in 2023 that I won because he and I played the last round of Swiss. So yeah, 2nd time for him. Number 7 is Enraged Peacock, Austin Dale Deckard. He was on Diva Hero. Glad to see that deck coming back because I think it's a solid deck. I think the only weakness with that deck is oppression. But I think I saw his deck. I think he was making a Trapstone to maybe help out to deal with the oppression. He and I were actually supposed to play, but I'll go over that once I get to my tournament recap. And then 8th was Hector Daniel Tellez on Black Wings. Now, I've never met him, but I believe he won the RBET last month. He was the one who was using all the jars and Liatas in his Blackwing deck, and he got back, got eighth, and made it all the way to the finals. Was this close? From what I heard, I didn't watch the finals, but my friends told me that he lost in time in the finals, which is up. It's upsetting, but I hope they gave him at least extra time. If it was more than 45 minutes and they still went to the time, that's just unfortunate. But it is what it is, man. I actually thought whenever I saw the top eight, I actually thought him and Rick were probably the favorites, just because of the experience. But yeah, it was an amazing top eight. Congrats to all these players, and I'm sure all these deck profiles are out. I only got 3 of them on my channel, but the others you guys can find them on other people's channels. So now we'll go to my tournament recap. Where is it? I think I wrote it down somewhere. Okay, so I went with Value Turbo yet again. I wanted to, I still believe Value Turbo is the most consistent deck in Edison. Now, it's not as, I think some of the decks have more power, like especially the Frog Hero deck. But to me, I just wanted to go with consistency, especially a 9-round event. You have to go 8-1. I just go with consistency. That's why you always see me play upstarts in my deck. But yeah, 466 players. Round 1, I went up against Dragon Turbo. I lost the die roll. But I'll just go over what I remember from this match. So, game 1, he drew pretty bad. I think, I didn't even know he was on Dragon Turbo. All I saw was Red MD and Prime Material, but he set no back row. So that's kind of why I was like, okay, he's definitely on Dragon Turbo. He just bricked, and it was like a good quick game. And then game 2, he beat me with Decree. He decreed me, and I drew 7 traps, so I couldn't really do much. And then game 3 was kind of like a back and forth game. I had oppression and stuff, but I think what he told me was that he had Trune the whole time, so he just couldn't draw into a Red MD, and that's why he lost that game. So I win round 1 against Dragon Turbo, which is one deck that I was scared of the most out of any deck, and I honestly didn't trust my side deck versus that matchup. But I finally was able to beat it because this deck has beaten me twice in tournaments in the past. At Vegas, I lost to it, and then I lost to it at a 70-man tournament in Houston. So yeah, I was glad to win round 1, and then round 2. I won the die roll, and I'm going up against Frog Heroes, Robert Scarpelli. I've heard of him, but I've never actually played against him. He's actually played against 2 of my friends before. So, Frog Heroes, and game 1, it's I think we both drew pretty well, but he dust shooted me, and my hand was Heavy, Brain, Burial, and a few other cards. And I remember he sent back my Dark Arm Dragon, which really hurt my hand, and he just slowly won. And then game 2, my hand was okay, but I just couldn't. He just, he opened a standard frog hand, and he summoned Breaker, and the Breaker really hurt me because I just couldn't set my back rows. I had 1 oppression. I was I can't set the oppression because he's gonna pop it with Breaker. So, and then I drew Dinah way too late. I drew Rug way too late. So, yeah, I don't know about Dinah. I feel my friends convinced me to play Dinah because I kept losing the frogs at locals, but I've always felt that the frog players are so prepared for Dinah, and sometimes you just draw it too late. He was just beating me down with everything, so that's why I don't know about Dinah moving forward. I'll keep testing it, but I'm not so sure. But I lost round 2, and then round 3, I went up against Fairies. I lost the die roll. This guy was from Quebec, I remember, so it was great. It was great. This tournament was amazing. 466 players. Saw people from all over the country. This guy from Canada. I even met a guy from Sweden. Shadow, I know you told me you watched the channel. All the way from Sweden came out, which is crazy because it's a North American. It's a continental championship. It's fun, crazy to see someone from Sweden. All right, so I went up against Fairies. I don't really remember this match. I just remember game 1. I won pretty easily, and then was it easy? No. I think he just opened slow. But game 2, he beat me with Decree again. Second time I lost to Decree. And then game 3, he bricked. I remember he just summoned Shining Angel, attacked, and then I OTK'd him. So yeah, it was just a quick 2-1. All right. So now I'm 2-1 in round 4. I went up against a flip hero, Diva Hero Beat deck, which was really weird. And game 1, he had Hamster, Rykos. What's the other monster called? The water monster, the one that flips and you look at the top 2, put one back, forgot the name. Crystal Seer. So it was a really interesting deck. Hamster, Raikou, Crystal Seer, maybe Snowman was in the main deck, I'm not sure, and obviously Miracles. So game 1 was a heck of a game. We just kept trading resources back and forth. I was able to out his first zero, and then I pressed his second Miracle Fusion after I dealt with the first zero. But eventually he won out because I ran out of monsters in my deck, and he still had monsters left, and he was able to win. And game two, from what I've told is like he actually had game. He had one, but I had one back row, but he was afraid like if it's the one torrential or the one mirror force, he loses. So I kind of get. He says he could have gone for game, which is true, but sometimes this is how I look at it. If I'm up a game, I'm more willing to take a risk. But if it's like game or even if it's game one, but I think maybe he could have been willing to take that risk because I had a D prison set. But he was more afraid of he didn't want to extra normal summon and walk into torrential or get mirror forced. So I get his dilemma, but like I said, he was up a game, so maybe he was willing to take the risk and go for it. And then game three, I do want to bring up something that happened game three, which my friends pointed out, which I was upset. So he has an Ab Zero on the field, and I go activate return from different dimension. He has Ab Zero and one back row. I go flip return, bring out my Sirocco and my Vayu, and then he bottomlesses me, and I kind of slide the Sirocco to the left, it's basically saying that it's okay. But then I kind of was like, a few seconds later, I flipped my body, and he didn't shark me. He could have sharked me, and then my friends told me I got lucky, but yeah, I will say this: I got pretty lucky that he didn't shark me because I probably would have lost right there. But it's also my fault. I should have thought about it. I shouldn't have moved the Sirocco. So from now on, I need to be more careful and not just move. I have to really think, and then before I just do stuff like that because you could get sharked. So, but I ended up winning the game, and yeah, I'm moving on with a 3-1 record. Yeah, because I had to deal with the zero with like Sirocco pumping, attack over the zero. The zero wipes my field, and then I have an arm wing play. So that's why it was a big deal. But I kind of didn't want it in my body because I was kind of really low on life. But I had to do it. Anyways, yeah, I won the die roll there. So far this is round 4. I'm 2-2 on die rolls. So round 5, I go up against Frog Heroes. I won the die roll here. I just remember this game from game 1 was I had to he dupe blocked me, but I had to out Brain and Caius. So and then the rest of his hand was all frogs. I think he had one miracle, and I either oppressed it or solemned it, and then he just couldn't fight out of that. And then game 2 was it was a really quick match. I think he just didn't draw very well, and I just had all the outs. I don't really remember the second game that much. And I talked to him about the frog deck, and that's one of the reasons why I don't play the frog deck. I think it just draws too many frogs. I think with the right ratio and build, this deck could be better, but that's another deck I'm always tweaking. But yeah, now I am 4-1, and we get to round 6. I'm playing against Bayou Turbo. And how did this matchup go? It was 2 days ago, so my memory. I don't really remember game 1 that much. I think. Oh, I remember now. I dust shoot him, and he had a dead allure. His hand was just bad. I remember he couldn't draw a dark monster for turns, and I just slowly gained advantage and won. Now this is the beauty about when I record my duels, because I feel like if I could go back, I could play this second game differently. So like I said, I won game 1 because he just couldn't draw anything after I dust shoot him. I think I dust shoot his dark arm. But game 2, I knew his hand, and we just both kept passing turn after turn, so I kind of forgot. See, that's the difference between in real life versus on Duel Book. I forgot the cards in his hand. Just because when I dust shoot him, he had a full hand. He had 7 cards because neither of us were committing to the field. And then he slowly came back. I think what really hurt me and I think won him this game was that he deck dev'd me, and it really hurt my hand. And then he knew I had Gores, so he was able to play around it. And yeah, I believe deck dev won in the game. And then after he deck dev'd me, he actually deck dev'd me twice. And I just kept drawing cards that got burned by deck dev. I drew a Raikou, I drew a Crow, which should have been a Compulse, but it is what it is. So then game 3, this was actually a close game. So game 3, I went first and did a standard opening, Greffer, Necro, and a Vayu, right? He normal summons Sirocco, attacks, I Necro, and then he passes with no back rows. So then I'm thinking, I just went for game. Maybe I shouldn't have since he didn't set any back row, but You know, a lot of times when I have game, I'm gonna go for it. So I go for it, but I have to use my brain control on his Sirocco. But I have Dark Arm too, so it's not like I'm gonna give him back. It's not like I lose to Gores. I just, if he has it, I'm gonna have to waste a lot of resources. So I go for game. He drops the Gores. So my field at the end, I wipe his field. Like I get rid of his Gores, his token, and the Sirocco that I brain controlled. So my field is Greffer, Dark Armed, and a Darkened Dragon. So I'm okay. I'm fine. And then he goes, and I believe I still have Necro in the grid. No, I don't have Necro. I used it on his Sirocco the previous turn. So he goes draw, summon Armageddonite, and right away I'm like, oh gee, I'm screwed. He's gonna Goyo my Darken, send my Dark Arm, and I'm basically gonna be down. I don't lose the game, but I'm in a really bad spot. So he goes Armageddonite, send Plague, top for Plague, make, and then he goes for Brio, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. And also, I top decked for my Plague, so I know I'm drawing into Hamster. So had he gone for Goyo, he would have Goyo'd my Dark End, send my Dark Arm. So his field would be Goyo, Dark End to my face up Greffer, and I'm drawing into Hamster. So I would, and then during my turn, I would hit over the Dark End and set my Hamster. But then he can go Goyo, take my Greffer, and then I'm like in a horrible spot. But instead, he goes for Brio, bounces my Dark End, and bounces my Dark Arm, and then attacks over my Greffer. So then I go draw, and he has like no cards. So we're down to all I have is a Dark Arm in my hand and Hamster, and he has Brio, and I think he draws into one card. Maybe he had another card, I don't remember. But then I set Hamster, and then he draws. He chooses to attack with Brio, and then I just slowly come back out of that. But like I said, I think I even told him after the match, and I think his friends told him too. Yeah, he should have gone for Goyo there, and he probably wins that match. Anyways, so I'm 5-1. Overall, even the matches I lost or where I could have lost, especially that round 6, my deck was just drawing really well. I never bricked. I was drawing pretty consistent. I liked my deck. I was doing well. So what I didn't realize going into round 7 was how long my round 6 match took. So for those of you guys who were at the events, it was 466 players. They would post the pairings A through like D, G through H, M through S, and then S through Z. So obviously my name starts with a Z, so I'm at the very back. So a couple of my friends were hanging out next to the SNZ, where the SNC pairings would go up. So I was there and just talking to everyone because like it's Austin, so a lot of my local friends were there. So I was hanging out with them, and I didn't notice when they posted the pairings. So they only post since after round 7, a lot of people had dropped. And they only after all the previous rounds, they were posting the pairings all, in the alphabetical order. But for this particular round, they only posted them on the A through D. They posted them all on one side. And I missed it. And then by the time I realized, I had already gotten a match loss. So I was supposed to play the Diva Hero player who ended up making top 8. He and I were supposed to play round 7. And it wasn't just me. My friend Javi, who was with us, he was also 5-1 with GBs. And we both got match losses, and there was a couple other people. I know Robert Scarpelli and Dirk Wagner. Dirk Wagner was actually undefeated, and Robert Scarpelli, who was my loss round 2, was X1, and they managed to make it in time to only get game losses. But you're down a game. It's bad. So I think that's one thing Konami really needs to work on. Like I think we need online pairings, or either online pairings, or get a megaphone or something, because that was ridiculous. I remember people were talking there was 5 X1s who didn't show up for round 7. That's ridiculous. Like that just never happens. That stuff only usually happens in day 2 when people don't wake up for day 2 or they leave for day 2, but like not in the middle of the tournament. And I was upset because I feel like I'd rather lose. I'll never know if I had not gotten that match loss. Could I have won all 3 rounds and make it into top 8? It sucks, I was drawing well. My deck was doing well. I think my deck was really good, and it makes me want to go to another event and try and maybe tweak up my side deck here and there. But that's my story, and this one hurt, man, because I think as Yu-Gi-Oh players, you rather just lose. You rather someone beat you than go out like that. And I'm always gonna wonder what if, what would the tournament have been completely different? Because like me and my friend Javier, he's my teammate. You guys see him, he's dominating locals with his GB deck. Could he have made it to top 8 with GBs? Could I have, maybe done well? Who knows? But anyways, still a fun event. It was nice to see so many people. Introduce themselves to me. And it was told me they love the channel. I appreciate all of you. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this tournament recap, and hope to see you guys in the future Ultimate Time Wizard event. I think this is becoming the most prestigious event for Time Wizard. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.